I know I haven't uploaded in a while, but that is partly because I went to see Nick this last weekend and I had a really good time, and I wanted to kind of talk about relationships from my perspective as someone with bipolar, because I've made a lot of videos about how to date someone with bipolar disorder, but I didn't have a lot about, how to date with bipolar, if that makes sense. Before I get started, I wanted to give a shout out to Nick because he made that. It's pretty great. It's a computer. I know that I'm gonna be like, anyway, yeah, it's pretty great. And he made it for me because he's really into computers. He also has his own YouTube channel, so if you guys want to check that out, you can. I'll put that in the description box. But anyway, getting down to the real point, I feel like having bipolar and being in a relationship has made my relationship, or how I feel about it, a little bit unstable. Because when I'm feeling really depressed or I'm feeling really manic, it's almost like my relationship is a little bit less important to me, which is hard to say, but it's like when I'm depressed, it's like, this is what I want. Like, I know I want it, but it's like, especially for me with long distance, it's like too hard to achieve, I guess. And then when I'm manic, it's like, it almost feels like I want to do way more. And it's like, this is holding me back. Like, any relationship I'm in is just holding me back. I want to do this and this and this. And it feels like, because I have so much more energy than my partner, it's just like, well, I want to go, why don't you want to go, sort of thing. And I think the key to all this is having a partner that can remind you and kind of help you manage your ups and downs and hopefully minimize them so that these things don't happen. I know that Nick has been really helpful for me in, even though he's like 6 hours away, he's been really helpful in helping me notice when I'm going up or down and helping me sort through my emotions. And of course, he has his own issues with anxiety sometimes and a couple other things, but we kind of are there for each other. And I think it's important also that with a bipolar relationship, it isn't supposed to be one-sided. It's not like, oh, she has bipolar, he has bipolar, the other partner has to be there for them all the time. No, it's like a two-way street. Hopefully the person with bipolar is also trying their hardest to take care of themselves. And if they take care of themselves, then it'll be easier for their partner, and also then the person with bipolar can also be there for their partner as well. Because I feel like in a lot of relationships, people keep talking about, the person with mental illness needing to be taken care of and needing to be babied, I guess, or like that the other person in the relationship doesn't get anything out of it. And it's like, I've heard that a lot, especially when I've been reading things on Reddit where it's like, oh, I love this person and I want to be there for them all the time, and then things get hard and then they're like, just kidding, this is too hard. I think communication is one of the most important things, because communication is what makes the biggest difference, I think. It's like, without communication, there's nothing, because you really need to talk about everything that's going on everything that someone is going through, whether it be the person with bipolar or whether it be the other person in the relationship. But it's like, if you don't have open communication, then no one ever really knows anything, and there's always this pent up emotion and maybe a little bit of anger and resentment, and nothing gets sorted out. I want to make sure that everyone knows that having bipolar and being in a relationship, it doesn't mean that your mental illness or mental state excuses you for actions. You need to take accountability for your actions, even though sometimes I know that when I'm manic, things don't really go the way that they usually would if I wasn't manic and I'm not thinking properly. But that doesn't mean that you can just have a free pass. You have to, apologize and try your best to never do that again, And I know it's easier said than done, but a lot of times if you make a mental note of something, write it down, make sure that this is something that you don't want to ever do again to your partner, then things will be easier. I think all it takes is someone who's willing to try. And that goes both ways, because the person with bipolar has to try to make sure that they're the best that they can be and that they're trying to maintain their emotions, and the other person has to, be a little bit patient. It takes a while for someone to figure everything out with themselves, and that also goes both ways, because as the significant other is figuring out how to deal with everything on their own, or with themselves, and in relation to their partner is trying to figure out everything with their illness. And everyone in a relationship knows that it's not supposed to be one-sided, that there are two people in the relationship and that both people matter equally. It's just that someone with bipolar may need a little bit more care and a little bit more attention. And that's not necessarily a problem. It's just sometimes daunting for the person in the relationship with the bipolar person. But so far it's worked out for me, and that doesn't mean that we haven't had our struggles, because we definitely have. And honestly, a lot of times it is because of me, because I'm just all over the place sometimes, and I can act erratically and a lot of that. And so it's hard to say sometimes whether something will work right away. You kind of got to get into the relationship a little bit, and sometimes just use your best judgment. If you think that someone wouldn't stay or isn't loyal or just wouldn't be able to handle everything that you're going through, sometimes it's easier to just, not get in it too far and make sure that we're minimizing feelings hurt. Because sometimes people say, oh yeah, I'll be there for you, I will be able to handle it and whatnot, but then the time comes and they're not able to handle it, and it just takes a lot of effort, I feel like, on both ends to make something work. And I know that the statistics are very bleak, but that doesn't mean we can't beat the numbers. So I hope you guys are all doing well out there, and please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.